Hello, hello. I'm gonna invite a few people. I know I'm like so jumping on so fast that some of you probably are not there yet. So all right, welcome. It is Tuesday and it's time for Tuesday Tarot. And welcome, Alicia. So today we're doing one card tarot readings and I'm going to answer questions. So if like you're new to tarot and you don't know what it is, feel free to ask a question, or if you'd like a one card reading. So because it is Tuesday Tarot. So every Tuesday I come live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and do live tarot readings. Please don't forget to share the video and don't forget to like, because that way you'll know when I go live, and more the merrier. And you may learn more because people may have questions on tarot. So getting the cards ready to go here. So if you are new, I am doing one card tarot readings. You can ask for a general, or if you have like a burning question that you're like, I need an answer to this question, you can put your question in the chat. My moderator will probably pop on soon. So helps me make sure I monitor the chat, and I get really good with that. So I just started going live in February. So I'm still fairly new to this. So I still got a lot of learning curves, but I do know how to do the tarot because I have been reading tarot. Like, I realized it's been over 10 years. So time flies when you're having fun. So I have oracle cards with me too. So if your question, I feel like I need to pull an oracle card for it, I will pull an oracle card for it. Because of course I want to make sure that we get you the answer that that the universe has for you. That's the most important thing. So welcome again to Tuesday Tarot. Please don't forget to give me a heart, and don't forget to share the video with your friends. And if you're not following, please make sure that you follow, so that you know every time I go live. So my live days are Tuesday Tarot. Thursday I have a spiritual topic, and I go live for what I'm calling Witchy Book Club. So our first book is not so much witchy, but this is the first book. It's Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss. I want to make sure everybody can see that. So I did the introduction last week. I do a deep dive, and the deep dive posted on Patreon today. So we'll be discussing chapter 1. So it will be at least until the end of May, we'll be going through this book. So I do have other books planned for the rest of the year. And we're doing them a chapter at a time because we can grow and learn more that way. Plus we can have really great discussions that way. So I want to thank everybody who's here. So it looks like Robert joined. Thank you, Robert. And thank you, Thanos, for joining. Please don't forget to give my live a heart, and don't forget to invite your friends. Again, it's Tuesday Tarot. So on Tuesday Tarot, it's a time to ask questions. If you want a card pulled, I will gladly pull a card for you. If you want a general reading, you can say general. If you have a specific question, you can ask for a specific question. And welcome, it looks like Julie Elise, welcome. Thank you so much, Thanos, for liking the video. I really appreciate it. It helps so much to get those likes. So, all right, I don't see any questions yet. So I'm going to kind of talk about a couple different things. So tarot is part of what's called cartomancy, because we are working with cards. And so in divination. So most divinations are going to be called mancy at the end. And welcome, Gerardo, Gabby, and Susan. Welcome, welcome. And it's Tuesday Tarot for if you just joined. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure everybody gets a welcome. I'm trying to be better with the comments. So cartomancy can be oracle cards, or like I've got my Lenormand deck right here. And we use cards to decipher divination and what our future may hold, or what our future may not hold. So, and we can also figure out how to like work with things in our present, which is really nice. I thought, I grabbed one of the old decks. So this is the Viscotti deck. and I hope I'm saying it right. It's Italian. So this is a reproduction of the ones that came out in the 15th and 16th century. And tarot has come a long way. So when tarot first came out, everything was hand drawn. And what is really neat is some of these tarot cards have survived time and are in museums. So that's really cool. And this is what the Rider-Waite deck is based on. For those that don't know, this is the Rider-Waite deck. This one happens to be in Romanian. So you can get the Rider-Waite regular deck in any language. I just happened to pick these up when I was in Romania, and I thought, how cool. So now my new thing is if I go to a country, I want to get them in the language, because how fun is that? Like I need more tarot cards. But here's the Visconti. They did have gold foil on them back then, but they were all hand drawn. And you can see that's the full card. Ooh, sorry, the light's hitting it at a weird angle, so you're kind of getting a weird flash. But there's the Magician. So what's interesting are, like, there's a cup card. So these are actually and I will show the box again. Oh, there's the box. I put the white book on top of it. So they're the Visconti Tarots, and they are reproductions of the originals. They're all of the old ones. You had the Marcel's deck. You had this deck. The Buna Sorna deck. I believe it's Buna Sora, if I'm remembering correctly. And there are reproductions of them. The reproductions are very beautiful. So, if you're like just really interested, I got them more as collector pieces instead of like, oh, I need to read with these. I got them to be able to have as just kind of a collector thing. And I actually show all the cards when I teach my tarot certification course. And if you're interested in learning tarot, that comes up in July. I teach it once a year, and usually different times of the year because it is over 17 weeks. So I do try to kind of vary when it's taught. So, I do know people like it a little bit more in winter, like when January starts, when all the holidays are over, so that you can, when you're dealing with coldness outside, you have like that chance to do something fun inside. But just kind of thought I would show that. And if you're not familiar with Lenormand is actually 36 cards. Most decks will come with 2 men and 2 women, and usually a white woman and a black woman, and a white man and a black man. There's usually 2 kids too. And they're just a basic. They're very, very basic, and each card does mean something. These are really great to do readings with. I like when I do full readings for people, like, so if you want an hour-long reading, I'll actually do usually a Celtic cross with you out of the tarot, and then I'll expand on it with the Lenormand cards. But it also depends on what kind of a reading you're looking for, because I do all sorts of different fun readings. So they're really fun. But tonight is Tuesday Tarot. So if you have a question and you would like, and thank you, Miss Nikki, I really appreciate that. If you would like a reading, and I apologize if I missed anybody. I'm trying to keep my eye on it. But if you'd like a tarot reading, I am pulling cards. If your question needs to more insight, I might pull an oracle card, or I might pull a Lenormand card, which actually I just put them back in. I don't know why I did that, so I'm going to pull them back out. So got the Lenormand ready. But yes, please feel free if you would like to have a card reading. So oracle cards are a little different because they're going to be up to the interpretation of the author or the illustrator, or if they're both. Sometimes they're illustrated by one person and written by another. And one deck that I have handy is the Dark Goddess deck. And actually, Barbara and Flava, they have so many great oracle decks. And so if you haven't seen them, they have really great oracle decks. So oracle decks are just a little bit different than tarot. So tarot, you've got the 78 cards. And I touched on it a little bit last week with, I had Bren up and we were doing card readings. It was pretty fun. And we were kind of touching on, you don't need the book. So I took one of my tarot teachers. He's like, everybody take your book out. So I happen to have a book here. So they call them the white books, even though sometimes some card decks, they may not be white. And he's like, everybody get your decks. And then he passed around a garbage can. He's like, throw it away. And I remember being like, oh my gosh. Plus I like tried to keep my boxes like all nice. And yeah, it doesn't happen. When you're reading cards a lot, your boxes fall apart. Like this box is taped up because I usually throw it in my purse to do readings for friends. So we threw away. So I was like, okay, but you know what? I don't usually even open them. Like this one I've not opened. This is also my new deck. Like I have two of these. I have two of the Shadowscape Tarot decks because one deck was getting worn out and I just wanted to make sure I had a backup. But when you look at them, I mean, they just give you like a little bit of the meaning. They don't give you a lot. You learn a lot more, especially if you get a teacher. So, you know, always look for a teacher. If you want to learn tarot, again, I teach, so I would love to have anybody in my class, but you don't have to because you may find somebody that you resonate with more, or you may have more than one teacher. I have 3 tarot teachers and I love all 3 of them equally, and I learned so much from all 3 of them. A lot of the stuff was kind of the same, but some of the techniques and like one of them, I felt like I developed my intuition a little bit more, and I feel like I can share like some of those skills with other people. So you do need to learn how to intuitively connect with your cards. It's so important. So you don't have to have the keywords memorized, because the keywords really, like, sometimes you'll have like, you're like, wait, this card means so much. And when you start looking at the tarot, they do mean a lot. The words mean so much. It's a little crazy. And welcome. I see Candace, you just joined. Welcome, Candace. So good to see you. I saw you last night in Alien Teas Live. So for those that don't know, I do go on Alien Teas Live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Sometimes I'm up on panel and sometimes I'm just in the chat and I listen. Sometimes I chat a lot and sometimes I don't. Very good to see you too, Candace. So glad to see that you're here. So for those that don't know, so I'm usually on TikTok, 6 days a week. Just, and this is fairly new too. So, I mean, I do log in every day. So, and if you don't know, every day I do a morning affirmation with a positive thought. So if you really need something to just get your day going right, those affirmations are so helpful. So it is a nice little video. So feel free to watch those every morning. I believe they post around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be, let's see, like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, you know, if you're in Europe, it's, you know, almost the end of your night, but at least you're getting something. So yes. So, but it is wonderful. So I do appreciate everybody who's giving me hearts. That helps so much. It helps me bump up in the algorithm so everybody knows that I'm here. So I do appreciate that. So thank you so much. Thank you, Candace. I so appreciate you liking the live. All right, so let's jump into card readings. If anybody has a question, or if you want a general, you can just type general and I'll give you a general reading. I'll give you a general reading for the week since I'm here once a week. Also, if you want more of a personal reading, I do book personal readings, but this week, and you can find it on my Eventbrite. This week is Triple Goddess Psychic Friday, and one of my tarot teachers, who happens to now be a dear friend, we go on a Zoom and we give readings out. So they're usually 1-card readings there, but it is more private. So if you're like, okay, I just want a 1-card reading that's more private, then you feel free to go to the Zoom, because that's kind of a nice way to get a private reading. So, and thank you for sharing, Candace. I appreciate that. So, you know what? Let's see. I know I didn't pull a card this morning because I hit snooze way too many times. So, and it's kind of nice. Sometimes like we need that, right? Well, I stayed up way too late last night, but, not that that matters, but let's see what, you know what? Let's actually, I'm going to pull a goddess card just to see. I want to pull the goddess card, to see which goddess is going to guide us over the next week. So over the next week, which goddess is going to guide us? And we are going to be guided by, the Morgan. I love the Morgan. She's one of the goddesses that I work with. She is amazing. She is a warrior woman. She can transform and shapeshift into wolves and ravens and crows. Yeah, the Morgan is absolutely amazing. She is for sovereignty. She's for liberty. She is for the pursuit of autonomy. So be yourself. That's what we need to do this next week. Be yourself. Let your voice be heard. Like, let your voice be heard. Yeah, isn't this an amazing card? I absolutely love this deck. It's, I'll just hold it up again. It's the Dark Goddess deck by Barbara and Flava, and it's Barbara John Free and Flava Kate Peters. They are Scottish witches who happen to live in Manchester, England. So they have a lot of really great cards. So yes, the Morgan. Sorry, she's one of my goddesses. So it's funny, like I love working with the goddesses. They help balance a lot of masculine energy, especially since most of our societies are very patriarchal. So there's a lot of masculine energy, and sometimes we've got to balance that. Masculine energy brings a lot of power and assertiveness, and sometimes that's a little too much. We've got to have like that nurturing and that compassion. Granted, the Morgan's tough, you know, she's not going to let anything like conquer her. And we need to be like that mama bear, like the Morgan. You know, mama bear is going to protect us. And honestly, I'd be more scared of a mama bear than a papa bear. So, you know, that feminine energy can be a little more scary than the masculine. But yep, let's pull our feminine energy out. Let's pull out our authenticity. And if your voice needs to be heard for something, let your voice be heard for something, because we definitely need to make sure that our voices are heard. Welcome, Brenda. Glad you're here. Glad to see you. So good to see you. So many wonderful people in the spiritual community joining tonight. So I absolutely love that. And thank you so much, everybody who's been giving hearts to the video. I really super appreciate it, especially those who have been giving gifts. I appreciate that too. So if I do miss thanking you personally, please know that I do really appreciate all of the gifts and all of the hearts. So again, it's Tuesday Tarot. Yes. Okay. Peace in the Meadow is pretty awesome too. Yes. You know, it's very hard to be your authentic self sometimes. You know, like I've been in situations where it's like, it's hard to be like, oh, you know, I want to wear black. I don't have my earrings in now, but I usually have like tons of earrings in. And I mean, people always are like, look at all the jewelry. I mean, I wear 7 rings, and they're all there for something. And it's something that's precious to me and sacred to me. And it does represent me. But I've had people who've actually made comments about it that I'm like, you know what? I'm me. Like, if you're scared to be that way, that's on you. It's so important for us to be authentic, and it is the time of Aquarius. And since it's the time of Aquarius, it's really important for us to embrace our spiritualness and to connect with others in the community so we can grow and evolve. And we're going to see some amazing things. We won't be around the whole time, because the age of Aquarius is going to last 2,000 years, but this is the age of technology and spiritual growth. So it's kind of a strange, like at first I'm like, oh, that's kind of a strange combination. But look at like the spiritual group on TikTok, right? Let's just take that for example. How amazing is it that there are so many beautiful people that are evolving spiritually and growing into the, like a few of you are here now today. Like I see Brenda and Candace, and if I missed anybody, I know like Peace in the Meadow, like Azriel, Alien T, like just to name a few. Like we're growing, we're evolving. Like watch us from week to week as we start embracing new concepts and theories. And I know everybody's like doing research on it, because you know, we can have one conversation a couple weeks later. Guess what I found? So at least I can especially say that for Azriel, because definitely Azriel and I are constantly learning and growing. But I do know a lot of you do. So it is really important for us to grow and evolve, especially in the spiritual community. So, but yes, it's authenticity is so important. And we need to embrace it. It's so hard too, because, you know, society sometimes, I think, wants us to be like in The Handmaid's Tale or 1984, where we're all the same. We all just do that. We go to work, we go home, we don't do anything to break the monotony. And so important that we embrace being unique. And we embrace that because everybody has a very beautiful, special gift that needs to be shared. And so share your gifts, please. Please share them. That's also kind of why I'm here. And I've got to grab my water. Sorry. It's like, I'm so glad it's spring. I'm so glad we don't have to deal with snow anymore. But like, I get like a little bit dry this time of year as my allergies start acting up. And I'm only going to have them hopefully till May. We'll see. So, welcome, Annie. Welcome. And thank you for the gift. And thank you everybody for the hearts. They help this grow. So, all right, let's jump in. We kind of talked about authenticity, but if you have a question for this week that you want a tarot card for, please feel free to put your question in the chat, because I'd love to pull a question for you. And if you want to come up, I'll kind of open it up just in case we need to. If you do want to come up, we can chat about like your question if you want. I know that's kind of a little off the cuff. At some point, I'm going to have to be strict about not doing it just because I know I'm going to grow. So I'm still a baby channel. Can we call ourselves novice? I call myself a novice TikTok. I don't know where Azrael is. I know I invited him, but he does work a lot. And so I know Thursdays are harder for him, but I did invite him. So yeah, we'll see if he pops in today. So, but I'm not sure. So and he also, he's a night owl. So he like, doesn't like, it's really weird. I can stay up really late. Like my husband's like, why are you staying up so late? And then I get up for work at 6 because I want to be done. Like my full-time job, I'm like, I won't be done. So I like having like an afternoon where I can go for a walk. I can prepare for my live. I teach classes. So if I've got to get stuff ready for class, but I have like a nice afternoon. So, it's always nice to be able to do that. I like to have that flexibility, even though like I get tired, but yeah, Saturday and Sunday roll around, I'll sleep for 12 hours. So, I actually am part of a Druid organization. So, one out of the United Kingdom, actually, I think they're based in Wales. I was going to say Cornwall. A couple of the Druids are out of Cornwall. So, I'm just a bard though. I'm only a little bard, but hey, I love studying that. So yes, I do study Druidry. I don't throw it out as much because, I'm still learning. So, I love embracing new things. So that's always really important. So, and thank you everybody for liking the live. If you would like a 1-card reading, please feel free to put your question in the chat, or you can put general. And other than that, I'm just going to kind of chat, or if you don't have like a question that you want a tarot reading for, but you want to like chat about something, you can ask questions in the chat. I'm totally fine with that. Because Tuesday's kind of a free day, like I'm not going to be as structured. Thursday will be a structured conversation, and so will Sunday. And then those, because I know people are joining on and off, so those who've been here for a while, yes, thank you so much. 2,700 likes. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. So if you're not familiar, I'm reading Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss for Witchy Book Club, and that is on Sundays. So, so Sundays is when Witchy Book Club is. So this is a really great book. Just throwing it out there if you want to transform spiritually and evolve just a little bit more. But so it is, again, it's Tuesday Tarot, and thank you everybody for the likes. I absolutely love getting all those hearts. So like energy and love out to all of you. Okay. So, you know what? Dag Dawson, message me and I will tell you the school that I went through, that I'm going through. I shouldn't say went through, the school that I'm going through. And they do online rituals, they do in person rituals. So if you're lucky enough to go to the UK, you can do those. So yeah, please message me. I'll give you their website. So it is like Druidry practice is really great. So, but yes, if you can just message me and just say, hey, you're going to send me the Druid stuff that way, and I'll answer you. Okay. So fabulous, fabulous. So Azriel, welcome, my brother.
Mary Mead, how's it going? I completely forgot about what day it is today. I was about to take a nap and then I just woke up. I did a nap and then I jumped out of bed and here I am.
There you go. Right, like sometimes we need those, right?
Yeah, well, the days are becoming so transparent when another day. You know what I'm saying? Every day seems alike, and if you don't take account to the calendar, you will not even know. Hey, Annie, nice to see you down there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of beautiful people here tonight. So, and we're already at 2,800 likes. So thank you everybody for liking the video. I love that. I love that a lot. What is that? Okay. All right. The fun thing popped up. So I'm getting used to this. One day I'll be like so
You
good.
know, so I seen, I think the name is Dag
Yes.
Dason. He mentioned he's a little hesitant on the course. What course were we talking about?
He asked about druidry. So there's the druidry courses, and I know like it can be a little anytime you start something new in the pagan community, it can be a little scary. And druidry used to be an oral, so everything had to be memorized and learned. But now, like they actually do, like there's online learning. So I'm doing one through the United Kingdom, and it's been a blessing. They do. So you get like you can ask for you pay a little bit more if you want the book, and they'll send you like a little, it's a little book. I mean, I think like the biggest one maybe was like maybe 30 pages. um but they come, they usually come kind of late because they're coming from the United Kingdom. um and they send them media mail, because like books can be sent media mail. But yeah, it's to actually be a practicing druid. Druidry has been around for, gosh, like probably over a thousand centuries. So and it can be scary. So and sometimes you have to find your higher self and find out, is that the pathway you're supposed to do? You want to make sure it will give you enlightenment, and you're looking, yeah, okay, you know what, definitely. Please don't forget to message me. I'll get you the link, because I will tell you, I had a huge shift, because it is really connecting with nature and becoming one with nature. And once you start doing that, wow, the spiritual shift is huge. But you know what? It is good to look, and there are a lot of groups out there. And if the group I'm going through doesn't resonate with you, there are several of them. Chris Hughes, who is a pagan and a druid, he has a group also. So there's a lot of really great druidry groups out there. So you came to the right place. Azrael and I actually go visit a druid monument and cemeteries.
Yes, yes, we do. I don't practice Judaism because it's a dedication, but there's so much beauty in it. Especially the way that I am very integrating everything. Every belief and every path, and it's so beautiful. So much in there. I've been welcomed by the Druid spirits, and Rowan knows a lot of it, and I learned a lot from her. She's in my local area, and yes, we've gone to a place where there's the majority of individuals partake in Druidism or are Druids themselves. There's what is it? The ODD? Is it the
Yeah, it's
order?
the ODOD. Yeah.
Yes, the ODOD, which is a monument dedicated to Druidism, and it's from 1888, and it's so beautiful, so much into it, and it's in tune to nature, and so much. Rowan, I was talking earlier, we were talking about holistics, in nature, and how we can find cures for ailments in nature. But you know what? One thing that we overlook, us as human beings, we're natural too. So acknowledging one another, we can be holistic cures to one another, just being in the presence of one another in that same essence. Hey, Candace, nice to see you down there.
Yep. We have a lot of fabulous people here today. So, and thank you everybody. If you're not following Azrael or myself, please don't forget to follow us, and please feel free to like the live. That actually helps get me up because I'm small. I'm still small, but all good. So, yes, there's a lot. What's really neat is the cemetery that Azrael and I are talking about. Um, there's not many cemeteries that used to let you be buried and have your symbol on there. Symbols as in, like, if you're part of the Freemasons or the Order of the Eastern Star or Druids or the Odd Fellows. And also sometimes you couldn't just be buried at cemeteries. And the cemetery, it's called Forest Home Cemetery in Forest Park, Illinois. At one point it was actually Weldheim and Forest Home, and they were connected. They were together. They were separate but together cemeteries, if that makes sense. They came together, and actually Weldheim is German, and that translates to Forest Home. So there are a lot of German people buried here, but buried there. And there Druid communities buried there. Tons of Freemasons with their spouses who are parts of the Order of the Eastern Star. Odd Fellows are buried there. I mean, it's mind-blowing how many different spiritual groups are buried there. And this again is because you can walk through the cemetery and you'll see somebody with a Druid sign or the Order of the Eastern Star. Like, you'll see it. There's actually a mother and a daughter, and I think the daughter's the palmist and the mother was a fortune teller, and it's like really cool. What do you think? You can be a Druid and be a Freemason, and you can be a Freemason and be a Druid, but they are two separate organizations. So both Druidry really wouldn't be considered ceremonial magic, where Freemasons are ceremonial magic. So fabulous question. But yeah, so some of the Druids actually are also Freemasons. But there's like Freemasons throughout this cemetery that have no connection to the Druids. But there are a few of the Freemasons that are actually in the Druid area that are actually also Druids. So it would be like, I practice witchcraft, and not a lot of witches are also Druids. And I also consider myself a pagan. And so not all pagans are witches, not all pagans are Druids, not all pagans practice witchcraft. So, so there's a lot of differences, but, okay, here's my thought, and I could be completely wrong. Druidry has been practiced through the centuries. I don't believe it was completely erased out, but it is no longer an oral tradition. Now we are writing down, like everything's being written down. And then you also had like different practices for Druidism too. Like you had different sects of the Druids, different groves practicing. So there's going to be differences between different Druid groups. So, yeah, there's, and it's funny because, the company I do cemetery tours with, they were like, oh yeah, I don't think there's Druids anymore. I'm like, you know how many people still practice Druidry? Like, and so there's large groups of Druids in the Chicago area, very large. And I thought I saw another question.
There is a question down there by Brenda, and Brenda's asking, do you feel their energy when you are there? And I'm going to let you answer this one because I answer in the comments.
Yeah. Yes. We have a very special bond. So I will actually go there to meditate. When I need like guidance for something, I will go because they do have lots of beautiful insight. And I will tell you, I'm clairsentient. I can hear people. I can hear the spirits sometimes. I feel them all the time. I feel spirits all the time around me. I can sometimes see them. So, and it does depend on what mood I'm in and if the spirit wants to make sure that I can see them. But I usually, when I get there, it's such a warm welcome. They're family. I consider them my ancestors. But yeah, Azrael and I we've done several rituals and it has been very beautiful. I don't know, Azrael, if you want to add anything, because yes, you can definitely feel the spirits there, and they have, oh, amazing energy.
I totally agree. Their energy is present, and it's so pleasant that actually I am drawn to just going there randomly on any given day when I'm nearby because their energy is so positive. And one thing is that I can speak for myself, because it's me. I've witnessed, and I've testimony that I've been gifted many ways, in so many ways. Not only gifted in material things like the minimal, the small little things like feathers, and actually guidance to go to specific places to pick up charms and stuff, but also intellect because they speak. As Ron was saying, at one point, they weren't writing stuff down. Everything was symbols and signs. And if you look at the headstones and you look around at the way the cemetery is set up, there is a lot of ways that they're connecting with us, and it's through the signs and symbols, the trees. Think about it. The name of the place is called Forest Home, and you mentioned it, Rowan. It was also in the same word, but it was in German how they called it. But a forest home is the home of the forest. And that's where you will find magic and mystics, such as the fays and all these all these spirits and everything. But they're positive. Trust me, they're as much as intrigued as we are. Our presence. Their curiosity is so much at us. You know, um, I'm not sure if I ever shared this with you, Rowan, but I went there one time on myself, and I took a walk, and it actually felt like I went into a time hole or a time warp where I was in a cemetery in the early 1800s where the cemetery was fresh. All the grass, everything that was there was fresh. So I think there's even portals within that cemetery. There's so much in there.
There's definitely a portal. So when you come into the cemetery, right at the cemetery office, there's like a map, and mine is so thrashed. I probably should grab another one, but because I noticed that there's almost like a vortex in the middle of the cemetery. And when I say a vortex, it's almost just like Azrael was just describing. It's like all of a sudden you're transported. It's like you're still in the earth realm, but you're kind of in the spirit realm almost. I mean, I don't even, maybe not. Maybe we're just being transported in time. And I was just really, really curious. So I like to work with liminal spaces. And this is literally a liminal space. So here's the really cool thing. There is an Indian burial mound there in the cemetery. And if you take the map and you draw a line from the Druid monument to the Indian burial ground, and I did a straight line with a ruler, and then you draw a triangle straight out, and then you walk where that triangle is. It's a husband and a wife, and the husband is a Freemason, and the wife is in the Order of the Eastern Star. Because I noticed in that triangle that there is more spiritual energy, and I've had like some amazing things happen. And so I was like, all right, I got to do this. And after I did it, I was like, whoa, it's almost, and that's the top of the Druid monument there at the cemetery. Thank you, Azrael. I'm so glad you're sharing that. The energy is just unreal, but you have Druids who are sacred with the earth. You have the Native Americans sacred with the earth, and the Order of the Eastern Star and the Freemasons, they are sacred too. I cannot, because they are closed practices, I can't address all of it, but the magic is, you feel it. You absolutely feel it there. And there are several fairy portals and fairy doors in there. I think, Azrael, didn't I show you the one that the fairy circle, that it's pretty close to
Yes, and that's what I meant. That's why I brought up the phase, the fairies. Because
yeah.
there's so much in there. It's so magical. And Rowan, one day, I hate to bring it up here in this live because many are not going to understand it. But see how Merlin, and for those, that's the top of the Druid, the Merlin, those stones. One day when we're there, I'm going to show you something about these stones here. And there's a little secret regarding those stones, and I found another gateway. There's another portal that actually leads to the ODD, the Order of the,
The
what do you call
druid.
it? The
Yeah, the order
uh,
of the druids. I cannot
yeah,
remember all of the
yeah,
exact, so it's just
yeah.
easier to say OD. Yeah.
There is some stuff in there, but if you look at this monument, he has on his right hand. Is it his right hand? His left hand? That's actually a harp. That's the singing harp. The stories that we see Jack in the Beanstalk, and Jack goes up to the clouds and he sees the singing harp. Well, that's a harp, and on his other shoulder he has a sickle on top of there, where it's symbolic. There's a lot of stuff in there. The sickle, people look at it as a crescent moon, but it's so deep. Rowan, the like in your image right behind you, you have the moon up there. You have the crescent moon.
Yep.
So there's a sickle on his shoulder that's sitting on his right shoulder, and there's so much stuff in there. And it's kind of hard. One day Rowan or both of us have to go there and actually give you guys a live a
Yes.
tour. Yeah, a
Yes.
live tour of
We
this, because there's
yes,
so much magic in there.
we
You know,
do. We
yeah.
definitely need to go do it. Yeah, there's a lot. There's so much symbolism. And what's really because you can see the Irish, the Scottish, and the Welsh symbolism all over there too. Um, and just so you see the Celtic magic, the Druid magic coming out. Uh,
A lot of Celtic crosses, a lot of Celtic knots, you name it. And that's the thing about this cemetery. For those that are looking for symbols and symbolic. One thing that you were mentioning, Rowan, is that the Druids, they didn't write language. They actually kept a lot of stuff secret because it was shown and taught by observing nature, observing the trees, observing the signs. And where this Druid sits on, it's actually I know for 100% it's the tarot card. It's the Wheel of Fortune, and also Rowan. If you can confirm with me, those things that are around there that look like chess pieces around it. There's things around there like a chess pieces.
yes.
They have these big balls on there. If you look at it, it will look like the pawn. The
Hmm.
pawn with the little ball. Those are globes. Those are actual fortune teller globes. They're globes, fortune teller globes. And then depending on where the sun is in position in the season, it's just like Stonehenge. It's so magical. It's so much in there. You know,
And I don't know if I've ever told you because you said Stonehenge. People in the paranormal community call it Little Stonehenge.
well, yes, I think I've overheard you, but I observed it. I've seen it. I witnessed it, and the way that this place is set up, there's little stools, and when I say stools, they're like little makeshift tree stumps where you can actually sit around this orb. I mean, around the druid. This thing here is about 40, 50 feet up in the air.
Yep.
I'm gonna find another image to show you, but there's so much magical just in this one area because there's so many things around there that it will just blow your mind because we have at the east. I mean, it's the far west side where you have the what's his name, the Greek guy.
Oh, oh, yes. There's that huge mausoleum.
Yeah.
Did we decide it was why do I want to say Persicles or something like that? I know we had to look it up because we were like we knew who it was, but we couldn't say it. And now I'm doing it right now.
Well, I'm dumbfounded right now. It's like it's my tongue is being held. I can't even say it. But it's something to do with darn it, I can't think. I'm so dumbfounded right.
Medicine. It has to do with medicine.
Yes, yes.
Medicine. Well, he's got the one side has it has to do with communication, and the other side has to do with medicine. And we figured out which that they were associated with the Greek gods, but they
You
were
know,
specific Greek gods, and now I'm forgetting.
yes, yeah. I'm
Yes,
trying to think.
Hermes. Yes, thank you. Yes, Hermes
Hermes.
Trismegistus is the
Yes,
communication.
yes,
Yes.
he's there. Hermes is there. There's
Yeah.
a monument as big as this one here. He stands like average person size.
Yeah.
You know. Yes.
Yeah, we have to plan that because especially now that it's getting a little bit warmer, 'cause it would be a very long life. And we might have to do, I mean, it would be a long life. I mean, when I go, like, I mean, I went this weekend and it was pretty cold on Sunday. Like, I was not dressed for the cold, but I was there for like 2.5 hours. So, you know, and I didn't want to leave. Like, that's the hard part, is like when you're like, I don't want to leave, but I was freezing. So I was like, I have to go because the temperature was so nice on Saturday, and then it dropped down to like, and I was like, it was cold on Sunday, but yes, it's Hermes Trismegistus there. So, and then there's another one on the other side, and I cannot remember the other side, but it is really like, yeah, we could talk about that cemetery for hours on end. Oh, I forgot, the Romies are buried there. There's not very many people that will let the Romy community be buried. This is literally the only cemetery, and I think even nowadays the only cemetery that allow them to be buried there. And they lots of big families there. Actually, the king is buried there. He's got a nice little mausoleum pretty close to the Druid monument. So it's got a huge, beautiful, magical communities buried there. Yeah, I can pull a card for the cemetery. That's actually probably a fun idea. I mean, it is Tuesday Tarot, but we get sidetracked, which is fine. Sometimes we're supposed to talk about certain things. So, cemetery, what magic energy are you sending to us?
Yeah, I was going to say Rowan too. I did mention the Wheel of Fortune, so that is tarot.
It is. Wow, we got the Knight of Pentacles. How amazing. See, so the cemetery, the Knight of Pentacles, it's a place of protection. It's a place of grounding. Like, look at that. That is like such a beautiful card for the cemetery. Oh my gosh. Like, that's a beautiful card for that cemetery. And there we go. Yes. And it has 8 sides. Oh gosh, we found, like, I shouldn't say we. Azrael found most of the symbols because there's a lot of headstones around, and it ended up being 8. And we were like, it connected to the will, but we also found connections from the Wheel of Fortune card to the Hermit card, just associated with it. So it is really fascinating, the things that, and I don't, well, actually, no, because it was built before, I mean, tarot was out, but they were the old tarot decks, not the new tarot decks.
Rowan, one thing about the 8 sides that I want to share with you, and the only reason is because I remember right now is we have 8 sides in this. I'm going to show you a
Yeah.
little secret.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this thing, this monument, he's facing eastward. All right. So behind him is southward. Toward the expressway is the north, and the other way is the south. The opposite of the expressway is the south. If you look at the Wheel of Fortune card, the Wheel of Fortune card is the Sphinx on top of it is facing towards you. It's facing. So if you do the tarot, if you shift the card one way, you can actually. I'm seeing if you're grabbing the card.
I'm trying to.
All right, but I'm going to remind you. So there's 8 sides. The once 4 of the 8 sides is north, south, east, west. The other 4 is southwest, southeast, northeast, northwest. It's showing you. It's the map. It's a map. So it becomes that one star. Yes. So you see how he's up there. The Sphinx is up there, and you see how the T is. So if you go to the left where he's at, so you shift the whole compass to where the A is. Okay, to the A. Now you're facing the expressway. Okay,
Yeah.
no, the other way, the other way.
Okay.
Okay, right now, according to my picture, so you're facing the expressway. All right, and the symbols within that. See where the A is. Look at the card. You see the A, and you see the pyramid that's upside down. That's the pyramids inside of the Sphinx. Those are pointers. Remember, there's I can't get into it real close, but there's so much I have to show you when we go in there.
Yeah. We'll have to
because
show the tarot card so everybody can see it when we go there.
Yes, because you know where the snakes are on that tarot card.
Hmm.
The the snakes are exactly where the indigenous burial is. So
Yes.
it's a trail. It's a trail. So it's deep. It's deep. Deep. It's deep. I'll
It
show you.
is.
There's so much stuff in this place. Like I said, this is the only picture I got here. I do only have just the monument, but there's so much in here. Um,
But I want to show when this monument was built, the tarot cards that were available at the time looked like this. So, how cool is it? And and I don't think Pamela Coleman Smith ever, I mean, I know she had been in the United States, but she mainly lived in London. I don't think she ever came when that monument was built. I mean, she was alive when the monument was built because it was built in 1888. So it is pretty cool. So that's what was available when the monument was built. And this is the map we're talking about. Yeah, it is pretty cool. So yeah, that's the monument. And that's the cool thing. There's 8 sides. It was built in 1888. So we kept seeing eights, like 888. So 888 was like the big number that we were seeing. So yeah, we got to definitely go out there and like do a live from there. Definitely. So because it's a very, very amazing cemetery. Lots of symbolism. And yeah, we can just do a whole thing on the symbolism of the cemetery. There's lots of really great symbolism though. But yes, that's the map. I mean, it's literally the map of the cemetery. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Well, we got the money card when I pulled a card for the cemetery. So, I mean, that's what, as fascinating as it is. So, yeah, if anybody wants a tarot reading, please feel free. I know we've kind of veered off Tuesday Tarot. We do that every week. And it's fine. We're supposed to talk about this stuff. Like, we're spiritually supposed to follow what we're supposed to follow. So, we got to do what we got to do.
yes, it's divinity. It's divine. When we welcome this, by talking, we allow the flow. I guess it's called the flow, where the spirits, the divine, the medium within us allows us to tap into these cards and the magic within it. So, for those of you just coming in, it's Tarot Tuesday. We're doing one card pulls. If you have a question, you please put it down there in the comments, and Rowan will actually pull a card for you. It could be a general question, or it could be a specific question, but please be specific so that way Rowan is able to tap into answering your question. And by the way, also show some support by liking, like the live here tonight, and also share with your friends. Okay, Rowan, we do have Tanya Lynn down there. She's asking for a general
The
read.
general. All right. Okay. Tanya Lynn will do you first, and then Chaos will do you next. So, Tanya Lynn, here we go, honey. Ooh, we got the Empress in reverse. So, this energy I'm feeling for you, you've got a lot on your mind, and you're missing some motherly nurturing in your life. So it's okay to reach out to someone. Like, it's okay. Like, there's somebody either you're thinking about reaching out to, or somebody that you really like, you're supposed to do it. It's somebody with a lot of feminine energy. So again, it's just somebody with a lot of feminine energy, but you need to have that. Like, that needs to, you're trying to reach it. You can't reach it. Go ahead. It's okay. You need to reach out to the person. And it might even be somebody that needs to reach out to you, because that motherly energy is just missing. Wow, that was pretty intense. So, yep, it's all good, honey. Love going out there. So lots of feminine energy. So go ahead, Chaos. We'll go to you. All right, we'll do Chaos, and then we'll do Brenda. So Brenda, I'm going to remember yours. I might have to scroll back to it. So Chaos, if you want to put your question in the chat. Or did I miss it, Azrael? Did I? Oh, no, there it is. Is all the chaos since Thursday life or spiritual? Ooh, okay. All right. Is chaos since last week life or spiritual? Okay. I'm supposed to pull 2 cards for you. So your first card is the 4 of Pentacles. And this one, wow, like you're hatching. Something's hatching. Something new is coming out. So I hope you can see that. Okay. Something new is hatching in your life. So that is new. But I'm supposed to pull a goddess oracle card for you so that we can get some clearness on this. Because your message is a little bit deeper than just something new. So that's why there's chaos, because it's being birthed. And that was a dragon. So it's a dragon coming out of the egg. So it's a lot of fiery energy coming out. And the goddess is telling us, wow, it's the goddess Oya. It is deliverance. So what is coming is, wow, like you need to really embrace what's coming. So there has been a lot of chaos, but you need, like, it is literally deliverance. You're going to know what that means. But the goddess is with you on this. She's helping you. Ooh, that was wait. Today is like big ones. Okay. All right. There you go. And see, the goddess, that feminine energy is going to be with you. Like, boy, wow, we're supposed to have a lot of feminine energy going on. Actually, that's like the big thing. So Brenda, I saw you tossed a question in here. I'm trying to find it. What should be my main focus? Okay. Ooh, oh, chaos. Okay. Yep. You know what? The dark goddesses are with you though, honey. They can take you. They know. The dark goddesses went through hell. Okay. We're just going to say that. They descended to the lowest level that they can, and they conquered and survived. That's what's coming with you. That's why that dragon is hatching out of the egg. It's saying that you are going, it's stronger than a phoenix rising. So way stronger than a phoenix rising. All right. Sorry, Brenda. I just want to make sure I got all of that. So Brenda, your main focus. Let's see what your main focus is supposed to be. Oh, wow. The 2 of Pentacles. You are juggling way too much, girl. All right. You need to balance. Find more balance in your life. So there's something that's a little bit too much going on. So you might be feeling overwhelmed. So do you see that? Like, find that balance so you don't have to step on one foot while you're handling everything. So your focus needs to be finding that balance, getting grounded and getting centered. So that's what you need to look for, Brenda. Wow. These are really, like, there's a lot of, we're in Mercury in retrograde. We've got this new moon coming up. There's a lot of heavy energy going out there. So, this is pretty heavy energy readings going on tonight. So there's been a huge cosmic shift that's actually shifting us all spiritually. So it is a little harder. We need to embrace that right now. And I want to do huge thanks huge thanks to everybody. Chaos, thank you for the gifts. Thank you everybody for sending the hearts, and you're welcome, my sweet sister. You're so totally welcome. So, Azrael, are you feeling that energy? Like, whoa.
You know what? I pulled this up here just for fun, and then you pulled it up.
And then I pulled the card.
I was like, wait a minute, let me go back to that Pentacle one. Because
that's intense, Brenda. Brenda, do you see that? Do you see that connection? How that connect? Like, it's all connected here. And so you're feeling overwhelmed, and I don't want you to be balancing on one foot, honey. Let's get them both grounded. Yep, it's a bolt. Like, thank you for the bolt. How, like, I mean, yeah, there's it is funny because you did have that up and then that card came. Divine. It's divine. We get
Yeah,
divine guidance.
yeah, they call them a confirmation, and that's the thing about it. We get at least a dozen confirmations every single day, whether it's a question that we keep to ourselves or we ask of the universe, the divine, the goddesses, you know. But you have to be aware. You have to observe, and that's part of the lesson. We were talking about the cemetery. This cemetery brings awareness to an individual to look at the signs because the signs are all around us, and observation is the key. We are the ones that can actually see it. But once we say, no, no, it's not possible, we're giving away that opportunity to see more signs. So always accept that resonates with you. And if it's answering the question that you're seeking for, there you're on the right path.
Yes, most definitely. And Kara, what should you focus on? All right, here we go, Kara. What do you need to be focusing on right now? We got the Six of Cups in reverse. So there's a lot of emotion going on. And what I'm really drawn to is this fairy who's pouring tea. But the tea's not going in the cup, it's pouring out. So you need to focus on the emotion. There's an emotion that's holding you back. And that's what you need to focus on. So it is associated probably with something, it's bothering you. It could be a trauma. It's a situation that has been bothering you. Get your emotions out. I always recommend writing them down and then figure out how to fix it. If it means having a conversation, if it means doing a meditation, I'm getting the idea that it's supposed to be a conversation because we have this fairy pouring the tea, but that tea is not, it's not going in. It's spilling all over the place. So that's what we're looking at. Oh, what? Okay. TikTok's having me do something. All right, there we go. Okay. So hopefully that helps. That will give you some guidance. Yep. You've just got to, again, like this energy right now is a little weird. So you're probably feeling a little emotionally overwhelmed. So just, no, and new moon is this Saturday, everybody. So keep that in mind too. New moon energy is coming. And it is a solar eclipse. So this is intense energy that's coming. Thank you so much, Brenda. And hello, Sigma. I saw you join, and thank you so much. I'm so glad to see you here. So, so many beautiful people here in our spiritual community. Okay, if anybody has any more questions, please throw them out there. Until then, Azriel and I can chitter chatter. Yeah. How are you feeling, Azriel? I mean, like we have this solar eclipse coming up, new moon. It's going to be intense.
I'm feeling a little bit drained, but you know what? Like I just mentioned, I was going to take a nap, and then I think I dozed off for 3 minutes. And then I ran a bath. I was going to jump in the bath, but I never did. But I've been feeling a little sluggish, but not sluggish in the sense of physical, but more mentally. I feel a lot of mental. I wouldn't call it blurriness. It's fogginess. I guess we'll call it fogginess. Or, I feel like I need to nap, but I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to the solar eclipse. I didn't mention it, or I don't really talk much about it, but last year on April 18th, we had the solar eclipse. I actually stargazed for a good 16 minutes into the sun, and I observed some stuff, and I was actually doing a live talking about it. Too bad that we can't keep stuff older than 30 days here on TikTok, because at one point we were able to keep the videos. What, like we record a live or do a live, we could keep the videos for a longevity, but I guess because the bandwidth, it costs money for the host, the TikTok or these people,
Yeah,
so they limit it to
the 30 days.
18 minutes. Yes, I agree with DG Chaos. Last year's eclipse also changed my life. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I can only give you the perspective of what I've seen and I witnessed observing the eclipse without my glasses, because I had the phone up and I dropped the glasses and I wasn't going to bend over to pick up the glasses. So I had no choice but to stare into it. And I witnessed something, and it's a testimony to a lot of individuals that do believe that the sun is a portal. I do believe that the sun is a portal, but I also believe that the infinity sign exists for us for a reason. And I do believe that we crossed over from one side of the infinity sign to the other side. So the sun that we're observing right now, it's not the sun that we were born to. If you got, if it makes sense to you,
No, it makes
you know,
sense.
so, so I do believe that one side is spiritual and physical, and I think we are in the spiritual side of the sun. And this is the whole new sun because I witnessed something that it's unbelievable, and I can't go word for word. I don't even know if there's a video of it here on TikTok, but I definitely believe that we crossed over to another side, and that's why if you anybody here is a stargazer since a kid, I've been a stargazer as a kid, and I've looked at the sky as a kid, and I'm looking at these stars. These stars don't look the same to me. They look a lot more further, and the only plausible thing for me to make sense is that we are taking a journey on a different star right now, and it's deep, you know. So, the story about the yin, the yang, and if you look at the yin yang, you got the light side with the dark dot, and then you got the dark side with the light dot. I think that's what we are. We are on the other side of the yin yang. Where one side we were born into this world, but yet we're on another side. And it's deep. Like I said, I don't delve into this stuff, but it's magical, and I definitely believe that we've been lied to not to stare into the sun because we'll go blind. But in actuality, you know what? We are prisms. And when you think about it, all of us, we discuss the chakra systems and everything. And yet, when we look at an individual, the individual is not multicolored. The individual is just energy. So when we feel somebody's energy vibration, our prism within ourselves takes that colors that resonates with that individual, if that makes sense. In the same scenario, we also resonate different colors, and that's how we become chameleons. That's how we can be accepted in any group and any uh, belief of individuals, because you know what, we can tap into that natural bind of unconditional love with one another. It's deep, and this is me talking what I observed from seeing that eclipse last year. I learned a lot. Trust me, I learned a lot.
Yeah, actually, I'm feeling like I'm supposed to be walking through the cemetery during during the eclipse, so I'm probably going to head out Saturday.
Well, we might have to, and I'm going to tell you because I'm telling you, you mentioned it earlier, the Stonehenge. Those things around that monument are positioned in a specific way that I believe only when the sun's at a specific uh, position in the sky, it will show us a path in a different way because this is mysterious, it's magical. We're talking about the cemetery, Forest Home Cemetery in our area, and it's full of magic and wonders in that place.
It is. Yep. And Tanya, we will bring everybody with because yeah, we should, Azrael. We'll message offline and we should do that Saturday because oh my gosh, oh yeah, because new moon and a solar eclipse with the spirits. Oh, it's gonna that would be a party. You're talking to people who are clairsentient and enjoy being working with the spirits.
And Rowan, see, I don't have a picture of it, but that one monument that it's just I would say southwest of the Druid. It's the one. It's a lady. It's a lady monument. She's facing west. She's on top of there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the Oddfellows Monument.
Yes.
And they're
No,
another
that.
magical group. They're another
Yes.
magical.
It's another magical group, and I'm going to tie something that I think it should be said here, and you can hear. Me doing what I was doing with the Druid, finding those stones and everything. I found out that that monument is actually the Order of the Oddfellow one. That lady is actually the Lady of the Lake, and that ties in with Merlin the Wizard.
With
She's
Merlin the Wizard.
Yeah, that's why she's the Lady of the Lakes, and she's holding what is she holding with her hand on one of her hands? An
Yeah.
anchor. She's holding an anchor, and it goes deep. That was a point of for them to have meetings. So she represents the order of the Oddfellows, but she's the Lady of the Lakes holding the anchor. It's deep. It's a lot of stuff in there. And the story of Merlin the Wizard and Excalibur, and King Arthur, it all ties in. It
Yes.
all ties in there.
Well, and the thing is so I studied English literature. When we are looking at the English literature, Merlin and the court jesters, we're doing the quote marks there, are bards. They are druids because that's your first level. When you start out as a druid, you are a bard. And that's where you start out. Oddfellows, aka Freemasons. No, the Oddfellows are a separate group. They are a separate magical group from the Freemasons. So some people who were in Oddfellows were also Freemasons. My understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, the Oddfellows actually started in Germany. Kesh actually, so the famous person Kesh, I never had heard of her until somebody said, "Did you see her episode on the Oddfellows?" And I was like, "She has an episode on the Oddfellows?" And so she actually goes to Alton, Illinois, because there is an active Oddfellows organization there. So yeah, so you can so if you have ever heard of Kesh, like I didn't when somebody had told me, so, sometimes I'm off in my own little I'm off in my own little world floating around. But yes, she does have an episode on the Oddfellows. But yeah, they're pretty close to Druid Monument too, because we can actually throw that in alive too. But yeah, no, we're supposed to be at the Druid Monument on Saturday. So yeah. Yes, Kesha, thank you, Chaos. Yeah, see, like that's how much in a closet like I'm in a closet when it comes to stars in Hollywood. So we can laugh about that. But heaven forbid, if I were at an airport and saw like any witch, like if I saw Christopher Penzac or Devin Hunter or Tempest, I'd be like, ah! So okay, let's see. I can't tell you anything she's saying, just what I heard. Oh, okay. So, and I did see a couple people saying, yes, please go live. So yes. And I did see about the dirt. Here's a very interesting fact about cemeteries. So here's the interesting thing. There is not a cemetery in the United States that has a crossroad in the cemetery, because it was bad luck if you were in the crossroads at midnight, especially in a cemetery. It was bad luck because allegedly you would meet the devil and you would make a bargain. Yeah, you know what though? Chaos, there is crossroads like outside. Ooh, that could be some intense dirt, because I'm thinking the closest crossroad actually is where all the smallpox people are buried. I mean, it would be outside the cemetery, but it's like right there where the freeway, the Eisenhower exit is, and Des Plaines Road. You know where I'm talking, Azrael?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Just a little bit there.
If we
Yes.
got dirt there, because oh yeah, I'd have to get it from across the street. I wouldn't want to get it as close to smallpox victims. They're very sad. Yeah, like there's a mass pauper's grave from all the people who passed away from the smallpox that went through Chicago. And when I'm there in the daytime, their pain and sadness is extremely overwhelming. And when I've been there at midnight, it's like I can't stand near there very long because it makes me very, very sad. So, Chaos, she'll pay. Yeah, I can. I'll get you some dirt from there. I'll pick it up. I've got tons of containers. My husband's like, "How many containers do you need?" I'm like, "I'm a witch." Why are you asking me that? All you that are witches, you all know we have containers. So we do have our containers. But yes, I do actually, like, I have I'm looking for it. Sorry. Where is my... Nope, there it is. This is my cemetery dirt that I actually got at Bluff City Cemetery. There is a baby that passed away when babies pass away before they're given a name. They just say baby and the family's last name. So not before they're given a name, before they were blessed and christened in a church. And this baby, oh, I can feel the baby's energy. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. I'm getting the idea that it was a girl though, but they planted a tree. And what is really cool is the tree trunk has grown around. So it looks like the headstone looks like it's a plaque for the baby. I never did get a picture of it. I should have got a picture of it. And unfortunately that cemetery has a very malevolent spirit running around now. So I don't like to go to that cemetery. So I treasure this dirt that I got because baby gave it to me from the tree that it's buried with. So, yeah, so that dirt is a treasure that I will have forever and ever. My kids will probably be like, why does mom have all this different dirt? So, but yes, so that's the Druid monument. But yeah, we're going to have to go. We definitely.
Oh, this is the other one. This is the
Oh
lady
yeah.
of.
Oh no, that is the Oddfellows. Yes, and that's actually the Druid monument's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from there.
Yeah, it's a hop skipping away. I'll show it. But you see how she's holding it in her hand there? You know,
Yeah.
So if you look in the front end, it represents the sword of what do you call it? The sword.
The
Darn it,
Excalibur.
the Excalibur. But then when you look at it at a different angle, it becomes an anchor. So there's a lot within it.
And
Yeah,
the Oddfellows are anchors.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of connection within that. And the reason I observed this is following those stones that are on Merlin's leg.
Merlin's.
He's sitting on those stones, the ones that I brought up a little while ago. Where's
Yes, I see it. I see it. But we're going to save it for the live.
Yeah, so it's there for the life. It's like what do you call those things when people start looking for pieces all over the place? Like it's a quest. It becomes a quest.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
uh
yes. Yes. I mean, like, oh my gosh. Like, and when you walk around, even if you see like a branch down, it's like, oh, wait, what's the branch connected to? I mean, like, because I have found branches that literally, I found a branch that had fallen from a tree that had the Oddfellows sign in it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I'm like watching the branch, I'm looking at the headstones it's pointing to, and both sides that this branch had, there were different people from the Oddfellows in a completely different place in the cemetery. So,
and then you mentioned it on one of these lives, but there's also the actual family, Frankenstein family that is there.
yes, because we found that together. We literally looked down and we're like, oh, it's Frankenstein. Yeah, so we're going to have to show everybody Frankenstein too. I haven't seen Frankenstein since last year. Like, because I haven't been going, like, when it gets too cold, I don't like going. I have gone, like, when there's been just, like, I went one time when there was a whole foot of snow, and that was actually really cool because no one was there, and it was just beautiful, like, to see, like, the headstones with snow. It was really pretty. So I saw Brenda asked a question. I saw Chaos answer for you. She asked if you had to be baptized to be buried in a graveyard. And no, you don't have to. And I did see Chaos answered that. But here's the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery. Graveyards are specific denominations. So actually in Forest Park, Illinois, there are tons of graveyards. There are Lutheran graveyards, Protestant graveyards, Catholic graveyards. The Jewish graveyard is humongous. And so where we're going is a cemetery. The difference is that graveyards are denominational and they are specific to one specific religion, and there is a consecrated church on the grounds. Cemeteries will have either no church, or if they have a chapel, they will call it a chapel, and it's non-denominational, and it is not blessed ground. It's not sacred ground. So if you're in Forest Park and you're running away from vampires, you better go to the Jewish cemetery, the Protestant, the Lutheran, or the Christian, because if you go to Forest Park, you're going to get the vampire's going to suck your blood because they're going to be like, ha ha, this isn't a graveyard, this is a cemetery. So just so you know. So if you see people say that, and then some people are like, why is this place called a memorial? Memorials are where there's just memorial plaques, and that's where there's no headstones. They're all just the plaques that are on the ground that will have the person's name and their date of birth, and some of them are like super fancy. So like I know out west where my grandparents, where my families are buried, they're all memorial gardens. They call them memorial gardens or memorials. But yeah, if there's no headstones above the ground or memorials, they will be just memorial gardens or memorials. So and their memorials are typically non-denominational, and it would be the same thing. You know, you can't, if you get dirt from there, it's not going to be sacred. And if you run in there, vampire can still bite you. So,
You know, a question. So is that why, the other cemetery that's down the road from it, where Al Capone lies, they don't have the headstones. They have, that little plaque on the floor. Is that the same reason?
that is a graveyard though, because that is owned by the Catholic Church. And there is a church there. That big giant church is there.
Yeah, the one across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
And so those are the new burials, and they are not doing headstones in the new burials, but across the street, it would not be a memorial garden because across the street is where the memorials and headstones are. So yeah, but where Al Capone has just a memorial plaque. He doesn't have a headstone. Yeah. It's fascinating stuff. I have books on even cemetery lore, like cemetery lore, what symbols mean. I know when I was in England last, we stayed at a hotel, and next to the hotel was a Unitarian church. Yes, graveyards are blessed grounds, Brenda. So cemeteries are not. But yeah, the Unitarian church was literally right next door, and they actually had a cemetery on their church grounds. So in Europe, they're typically all graveyards because they are literally the cemeteries are on the church grounds. So it's like not unusual to walk into church and have the cemetery. I mean, like, I'm trying to think. All of a sudden I blanked on the big Westminster Abbey. A lot of royalty is buried there, and people go in there for mass. I went to Canterbury, and they do mass still there at Canterbury. And inside the church, people are buried. But that would be that's sanctified grounds. So because it is a graveyard, so it has been blessed by a clergyman, where cemeteries aren't blessed by clergymen. So yeah, so if you're a witch and you're going to get graveyard dirt, and you go to a cemetery, you just got cemetery dirt, not graveyard dirt. So yeah, you do want to know the difference. Especially if you're going to do a spell and you need sanctified blessed soil, you got to make sure you go get that. But yeah, there's some really amazing cemeteries in the Chicagoland area, and yeah, a lot of famous people, a lot of famous stories, lots of really, really neat stuff. And what's also neat, like the wildlife at Weldheim, aka Forest Home Cemetery, because there's a red-tailed fox, lots of raccoons, skunks, of course, chipmunks, squirrels. I have seen ravens and crows there. There's a large herd of deer, very, very large herd of deer. And there is this coyote, and he is a big boy. So I'm pretty sure he's probably picking off like a deer every once in a while, but he's a big boy. So I call them spirits, but yes, actually right near the Druid Monument, I see a little boy quite frequently. And Azrael, didn't you say you've seen the little boy too?
Yes, I've seen the little boy, and that's part of why I think us being there physically to show, if you do recall, and if you look at where Merlin, the druid is facing, he's facing east, all right,
Yes.
and I followed his stair, and his stair goes all the way where this first street is, the little first little place where you can walk. And there you have the little boy. I don't know if you ever remember that little monument. There's a little boy that's there. It's from 1867 or 69, and he's staring straight at the druid as the druid is staring back at him.
Yes,
And
he
the
is.
reason I'm mentioning this because it's so deep. Is there is a little boy in there, and I don't know the boy's name. The only thing I can relate to is the word Arthur. That's why I mentioned King Arthur and the Lady of the Lake and Merlin the Wizard, because I believe if you follow the druid's rear, the back end of it, where he's facing the little boy, there's an angel. You follow it all the way to the end, to that dip, there's an angel. So it's past, present, and future, in there. It's deep, and I'm talking about, but there is a little boy in there, yes,
Yep.
and he's a guide. He is a guide there. He's very curious, and he's definitely in there. But he's been in there for a very long time because we do have the orphans all the way in the west side, close to
Yep.
Hermes statue, the little area dedicated to all the orphans that passed.
Yeah. Yeah, and the little boy makes himself present a lot. I see him quite frequently, and actually he's buried with a sibling. So he had a baby brother that passed away at a young age, and the little boy is about 4 years old. He's 3 or 4. I'll show you where I found their names because like I was like I wonder like does the little boy belong, like I felt like the little boy belonged to that statue. I really felt it, but I couldn't, and I found the names. I found them just last year. So it was like so weird that I went so long without finding the names.
That is, that's something, a good fact to bring up because I see the boy, but he's wearing like what is the pajamas, but not the typical pajamas like a boy would wear. It's like a gown, but it's a
Yeah.
universal gown. Yes.
It's actually like they're the dresses. So boys used to wear dresses till they were 6 or 7 years old in that time period. That's what he's wearing, yeah. And it's white.
He's really, yes.
Yeah. There's a woman there that doesn't like and she doesn't like when mediums are over there. So she's not like so I try to get as close to the little boy as I can. But yeah, so yes, so there's your answer, Brenda. We have both seen the little boy there. There's also a woman in white that walks around. Um, I've seen a male, and actually, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. Spectral Wave. They have a picture. We were like, oh my gosh, because they have a full apparition picture on their website by the empty mausoleum. We were there at midnight and they got this picture. I happened like that was a very active night. But Spectral Waves, I know it's on their Instagram. So yeah, if you're interested, I don't know if they have a TikTok, but I know for sure that they have an Instagram. So because I follow them on Instagram, and they have a lot of very interesting stories. So they are paranormal investigators that go out, and she's actually a medium because her and I were like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And like the guys we were with are like, "We didn't hear anything," and we're like, "It's because it's the spirits they're talking to us." So it is kind of fun when you're with other mediums. So. But Azrael and I usually almost like we just have the same experiences usually. Like when we're there, we're usually like, yeah, did you feel that guy? Did you feel that woman? Like, because you can feel different energies. Our energies feel different for like if we're male or female. And if we're a child or an adult or an adolescent, the energy is different and you can feel that difference if they cannot make themselves apparent. So, and it's easier for spirits at night to make themselves apparent. So some of them are really strong, but that little boy that we were just talking about, I mean, he's got a lot of amazing energy because you can see him in the middle of the day.
And I'm getting the impression that he was the little boy that pushed over the other little boy that was with us physically. I have a feeling that he was the one that pushed him.
He probably was because
Yeah.
as bad as it is, I think you're right. So for those that don't know, one of our friends has a little boy, and he can be he's very independent and a little bit hyper sometimes, and he was just not listening to mom at all. like at all. And he was being, he'd been with rituals with us before. He'd been to the cemetery before, and he's usually really good, but he was just not being good at all. And we were sitting there. Next thing we know, out of nowhere, he gets pushed. Yeah, he was literally pushed, and he was like so upset. And then us three were like, well, that's what happens when the spirits don't like that you're misbehaving. And we're all trying not to laugh because we knew exactly that it was the spirits that pushed him, because literally, I mean, like there was nothing around. So it was very interesting. I don't know, Azrael, if you want to add something, because it was very interesting.
His demeanor, also as well, because he knew it was something that was not of norm. If you were there, he was very active and very, I don't want to say being a pest, but he was, being a little loud. And as soon as he was pushed, and that we all witnessed it, he changed his demeanor. He was actually like, caught himself and changed. He actually changed for a while until we left from there. So there was something happening in there, and I don't know. You want to call it spiteful, but I think it was a lesson learned. And I'm saying it in a good way, because we are in a place that we were honoring, we were doing a ritual, and the ritual was a positive ritual, and I think it partake in a big switch change. But you know what? It was for the positive, because I think he did learn a lesson, and we all observe it. And like like Roman stated, we didn't want to make a big deal out of it. We just all knew that was a confirmation.
Yeah. And it was like, I remember at one point, like you and I talked about it right away. We were like, because we knew right away it was a spirit. But we all looked at each other because we all knew. And when I had the conversation with his mom afterwards, she was like, yeah, he even said to me that spirit pushed me, because this little boy does have gifts. So, and his mom has gifts. So, and this can happen. Like, I mean, that's what we are sometimes. I personally believe we're all born with a Clara gift, and it's a matter of developing it and letting it continue to grow. But a lot of times we don't, because society and, maybe like, you have family members that don't believe. I mean, like my husband is like, oh, there's no such thing as spirits. And he'll say that all the time. But I will tell you, like, okay, I'm going to tell two experiences. And these are like, so his great grandmother walks with him a lot. And I can tell when he's not feeling well. Like I can feel not feeling well as in he's sad. And I'll usually be like, if he comes home and I see his great grandmother like at my house, I know right away he's had like a bad day, and I'll be like, what do you need? Do you need to talk? What do you need from me? And but the first time he like kind of questioned me about it, I'm like, well, there's a woman, she's a relative, and I described her to him, and he got like pale, like, because I literally described his great grandmother. So, but he also, like, he says he doesn't believe, but I think he does believe. But we were in Romania 2 years ago, and his mother's like, oh, come see my grandma's house. So this is his great grandmother's house. And it was that same feeling. And I'm like, okay. We go into her bedroom, and there's a portrait of her on the wall. And I went white, because I was like, hey, you're always at my house. So, because it was like, I finally knew who exactly it was, and I can actually see her. So, but yeah, I can't talk about it with my husband, because like, I don't know. But so the funny story, we went for my birthday one year. The company I work for doing cemetery tours, they did a paranormal investigation at a mansion in Southern Illinois. And I'm like, I want to go for my birthday. And so he went with me, and the room we stayed in, it is haunted. I believe it's a couple. I believe it's a male and a female that they were servants, because we were actually in a servant room. And, So I'm doing the investigation part, and he didn't want any part to do with it. He was watching TV, and then he went to bed early because he was bored. And he thought I had climbed in bed with him and that I was cuddling him. So about 1 a.m, I've been doing investigations. We've got all this paranormal equipment set up. We're talking to spirits. I was in one room guiding people through a spirit that was talking, and then they drain your batteries. So I went to go grab more batteries, and I walked in the room, and my husband's like, "When did you leave the bed?" And I'm like, "What?" I was totally confused, right? Because I have not been in this room since we brought the suitcases in. So I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, "No, you climbed in bed with me." I'm like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Who are you sleeping with?" And and then it clicked because I could tell there was a female spirit in the room. I'm like, "Have fun." And I left the room and went and finished the investigation. And then the next morning, he's like, "You were cuddling so close to me all night long, and it wasn't me." Because I got maybe 3 hours of sleep because we were investigating most of the night. But he was ready to leave. He literally packed the car. I'm like, "You haven't had coffee and I wanted to walk around." And he's like, "We gotta leave. We gotta leave. We gotta leave." He was yeah, he had some very interesting experiences. And he will not, something else happened that he won't even discuss with me. So I'm like, "And you say you don't believe." So I'm going to let him keep on not believing because I think he really does now. Sorry, I laugh because I'm like, that's what happens, So he's got clear abilities and didn't know it. But yeah, he was cuddling a spirit woman. So, I mean, hey, kudos for her. I'll let him have his flings with spirits. Is that awful? I don't know, Azrael, if you have any paranormal stories you want to share.
At the moment, no. But you know what? I do want to give you a reminder. You mentioned this weekend you're going to have a starting of a book reading or book club. And maybe it's a good moment for you to promote what you're going to be doing for this weekend.
Yeah, so Sunday, 8:30 Central Standard Time p.m., 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So that would be 6:30 p.m. Chapter 1 of Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss. This book is she's combining the Hindu chakras with Christian sacraments and the Tree of Life, the Jewish Kabbalah Tree of Life, to insert personal power and healing. So it's really great. I call it Witchy Book Club. This is not a very witchy book, but this is a very spiritual book. So please feel free to join on Sunday so that I have discussion questions ready. So it is chapter 1 we're going over. And then if you're interested in my bio, so if you follow my page, you can go to the bio and link on there and go to my Patreon. So if you hit the wrong one, you go to my website. My website can take you to Patreon. I'm actually reading the chapter and it drops on Tuesdays. So I read the full chapter. So you get the full chapter, but I'll stop and make commentary on it. So yeah, if you don't have the book, but you want to hear the chapter, you can definitely go join Patreon. You do have to join at the $5 level, but hey, it's all good. You get actually lots of really good goodies. So you get the daily affirmation with sometimes tips and tricks in how to grow spiritually. So I do lots of fun stuff there. But yes, so Sunday night. So I go live Tuesdays, Thursday, and Sunday. So Thursday I'll have a spiritual topic. I'm going live at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Azrael, you're going live on 10:30, right?
That is correct. 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right.
So you get both of us having fun, on a spiritual topic. So please make sure to like both of us and follow us. But yeah, go ahead, Azrael.
No, I was just gonna say, normally I do turn on my camera here, but today I just don't feel comfortable. You know why? Because I'm with no shirt on, and I don't want and I don't want to, I'm too lazy. It's kind of warm. I left my heater on at 74 when I went to work and came back home, so it's still warm up in here. But yeah, so there's so much that we discuss, especially with the cemetery, and it's kind of hard to really uh, give the visual of it. But you know what? The stories are legit. There's so much magic within that place, and there's so much magic, within Rowan. Rowan been practicing magic, and and I do too, but I kind of keep it a secret. I don't know. Here and there I do partake into it, but I do keep it a lot of secret because I don't know. I guess because you know what, I deal with a lot of public, figures. In my business, I deal with a lot of corporation people, and I don't want to, you know, make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
But that's
it is
yes.
hard. I mean, it really is hard. Like, actually, most of the people I deal with now, because I'm hybrid, they don't even know what I look like, so I don't know that they would find me. but, but yeah, because sometimes I think about, oh, my work life, mundane world, magical world, love the magical. Welcome, TJ.
Oh, you want to know something? I don't know if you were around when I shared on Alien T's live that about 2 weeks ago that I actually bumped into the Archangel Michael, the Angel Michael.
Oh,
And I kid you not, sometimes you meet somebody and you don't have to have them say anything. And it's funny that TJ is here too because he wasn't alive a little while ago where somebody was talking about something. But I ran into an individual today, small words, small chat and stuff like that. And believe it or not, and I'm not saying this to get any uh, badges or anything, but I believe I ran into Jesus today, and it was just like an acknowledgement. He said, just keep doing what you're doing, and just spread the love. And he just told me that, and he just took off. He said, spread the love, just keep spreading love. And I think it's us acknowledging one another and us being able to speak to one another. Many individuals find themselves in a dark place because they feel they're all alone. Where we have our family, we have our friends, but yet in that very moment when we need somebody, there's nobody around. And I think all of us are supposed to put ourselves in those positions where we actually meet an individual and just acknowledging them because we don't know what they're going through. And that's the lesson that was given to me. And you know what? I could have went into the grave with what this story that I just shared with you right now, but it's 100% true. I resonated with it and I understood the message, and the message was what I just told you guys. Just doing, just acknowledge one another and share that love with one another.
I'm glad that you say that because, there's a big shift going on. And a lot of people in the magical community have actually talked about like how there's so much hate and anger, especially in the United States right now, and that the shift needs to be one of love and compassion. And so I'm really like this year, I'm like, that's my concentration, especially like, so William Lee Rand, who happens to be a Reiki master teacher, he does the third Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. your time zone. You're supposed to meditate for peace, and it's supposed to help spread peace through the world. And so he does teach this to, because I have Reiki training through him. Well, my Reiki master goes through, one of my Reiki masters goes through him, and it is really like I always notice like it's really profound because you feel that. So like literally people are meditating for peace in every time zone across the world at 7:30 p.m. their time for 24 hours. I mean, think about that. That is absolutely amazing. So I've enhanced it this for me this year because I'm like, it's not just peace. We can't have peace without love and compassion. So I'm really like, when I go into my meditation, I'm like trying to meditate. Well, not trying. I'm meditating to put out peace and compassion and love because we can't grow without that peace and that compassion and love. And, it would be so like, this is it. Like, we're in the age of Aquarius. This is the time for us to all transcend, for us to ascend. And just like the message you got, Azrael, I mean, that's such a beautiful message. And thank you so much for sharing it here because that's more profound than me asking everybody, meditate for peace, love, and compassion. So thank you, Azrael.
Well, I thought I should share. There was somebody else I wanted to share earlier, but then I thought, you know what? I don't think they're going to believe me. And, but, right now discussing this, it just came to the top of my mind. Like, wait a minute, there was a message that I received today. And kid you not, even, the first time, like, I think it was Michael, I seen him, last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, but there was no communication with us. It was just that telepathic connection. And the same scenario with this individual. And I kid you not, what the people depict of him, and I'm talking about, Jesus, it actually, I resonated because you know what, it manifested in a way that I can interpretate it. You know what I'm saying? So what I resonated with it exactly how it manifested in front of me, and it was almost just in that same sense. You know, verbally it was said, keep doing what you're doing, and keep sharing that love, and that was what I understood. But the telepathic part was that's what we all must do. We can speak and speak and speak, but I think the biggest action that we can give one another is a smile. And I think just a smile alone will open up a lot of doors and opportunities, not only for ourselves but our surroundings, because we create a ripple. If you think about it, our smile is like a ripple in the water. When the water's still, our smile has that little ripple, and the next smile is another ripple, and it's a continuous ripple, and we're all smiling, and before you know it, everybody's smiling all around us. And there's no secret. It's just, what, we all are appreciating the moment, appreciating one another in our presence, and just appreciating this opportunity they have right now. Right now, this very moment, the right now is, when we acknowledge that we are winners. And when I say winners, is that we achieve something many others before us haven't, is the opportunity to receive unconditional information, unconditional love, unconditional everything. You know what I'm saying? We're so blessed and honored with what we have right now. This is unbelievable. This is something that 2,000 years from now, we're continuously having magic. All of us in our own devices here, able to simultaneously be in the presence of one another. This is magical. This is, but we're so thought, oh, this is just technology and everything. But you just think about it. The opportunity for you, Rowan, to smile here in the camera, and others can see your smile. It reflects. And we're a reflection of one another. And I'm going to yield. I just get so passionate. I'm sorry.
I do too, though. So sorry, you guys. We do get passionate and get on tangents, but I love this Sigma. This is so true. Yin yang symbol. Within darkness is a seed of light. Within the light is a seed of darkness. It is so true. I actually one of the posts I shared in my Patreon recently was, what seed are you planting? And you know what? It's okay if you're in the dark right now, because you will come to the light. And, if you've always been in the light, you do need to go to the dark so that you can learn how to let your light shine brighter. But take your smile with you. I love that, Azrael. I always tell people, say things with a smile, because even if you don't see somebody and you're smiling, it's going to come across with that energy, with that loving, beautiful light energy, because that's what you need to have. So, Kara loves the passion. Yes. And you guys will get passion with Azrael and I. So we will throw it out there. And I want to thank everybody. We are at 10,000 hearts. So thank you so much. That's so awesome. That's going to help bump me up. So maybe one day I'll be out of the D League. So I will. It just takes time. So, but I am going to actually start wrapping up. So anybody else want a question, please put it in the chat. And Azrael, anything you want to add for the tail end and goodbye?
Just everybody just be themselves. Never be your worst critic. Because we are gifted with so many talents. Especially the clairs. Like you stated, Rowan. We all have clairs, and sometimes we look outside for acknowledgement. Oh, can I guess this? Can I guess that? But you know what? In actuality, you need it for yourself. Start with yourself and actually observe and see, because these clairs are with you. And when you ask for others for acknowledgement of those clairs, you're stripping away and you're giving yourself doubt. And another thing too is, no matter where you go, No matter who's around your presence, always have a notepad. Take notes. Journal everything, because something within a conversation is something that you will be seeking. Whether it's not today, it could be something for tomorrow, and it could be a week from now, and you go, that's the reason why I heard that. It's that confirmation. And when you're self-reflecting and you're taking your notes, you can actually look within yourself and find the things that you're missing. It might be the most minimal thing within you, but if you don't take notes and actually look within to find out how you can actually find yourself balanced or positive or so forth and so forth, then you're going to overlook the simplest things. So appreciate the smallest things, and the smallest things is being in the present, receiving golden goose eggs of wisdom.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Azrael. Thank you again for joining me tonight. There's so much to learn. So spiritually, we're so glad to have you here, everybody who's here. And thank you, everybody, for the gifts and the hearts for both of us. Please make sure that you follow myself and Azrael if you're not following us. Again, I'm live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And those that don't know, Sunday is Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Miss. This chapter 1 is going to be what what we're going over, and it's okay if you don't read the book, because I have literally I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about the philosophy and then ask questions, because we can grow even if we don't read it, because other people who will read it will be there. So don't feel bad if you don't have the book or you haven't read it. And if you have read it, please feel free to join and come up on panel on Sunday. And you can anytime go to my bio here on TikTok, and you can follow me on Patreon or on my website. So I do have a beautiful little website, and yeah, Azrael and I'll touch base. So maybe we'll be live this Saturday. So, but yes, bright blessings, everybody. So as always, I'm going to end with my beautiful salutation. Merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.